Hello everyone, it's Naden here and welcome to this latest episode of our podcast. And it's a pleasure to have you here listening to this. Now, recently I've had a lot of people contact me who are really struggling with their marriage. And obviously people struggle for all sorts of different reasons. Maybe their partner is having an affair, their husband or their wife, or things just aren't going right in their relationship. But they're struggling. And a lot of people are doing many of the right things. I get wonderful feedback from people about this podcast and what a difference some of the ideas have made to them, which is fantastic. And through my programs, a lot of people are doing the programs and they're making progress in that as well. But one of the things I've noticed is that many people say to me when they're not making progress, or when the progress they're making in saving or improving their marriage isn't as fast as they'd like it to be, they say to me, Liam, I'm doing everything I can. I'm trying really hard. I'm doing what I think are all the right things, and I'm stopping doing what are the wrong things to do. But I'm really, really trying, and I desperately want to save my marriage, and I'll do anything. But the problem is, what's often happening, and this might be happening to you as well, if you find yourself saying that, making that particular statement or thinking it, is that you might be trying too hard. Many people are simply trying too hard. And you might say, well, how can you try too hard? Well, that's what the theme of this podcast today is all about. And that's why I've called it Saving Your Marriage Through the Magic of Letting Go. Now, letting go is an interesting concept. Many people think letting go means giving up. They think it means not trying at all. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I think I'm going to show you that there's a new way of looking at how you can really create not only a better relationship, a better marriage, the marriage that you really want to have, but a better and happier life for yourself as well. And ultimately, of course, surely that's what we all want, and that's what we deserve. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about the difference between struggle and pressure and trying to force an outcome, which is either to save your marriage or in fact anything else in your life, the difference between that and actually applying the magic of letting go. So what we're going to look at today is firstly, what is letting go? What does it mean to really let go? What am I talking about? And you'll discover it's possibly something quite different to what you thought letting go actually is. So that's the first thing. What is letting go actually? And the second thing is, what happens when you let go? Because you might be afraid of the whole thought of letting go, of perhaps giving up control, or whatever you think letting go is. But we'll talk about what actually does happen when you let go in the right way. And it's all positive. That's the good news. The third thing I wanted to cover is why we don't let go, or why we find letting go hard to do. And when we understand that, we'll know why we put so much pressure on ourselves and why it really is unnecessary. But why don't we let go? Why is it so difficult to do that? And the fourth thing is, based on all of that, is, all right, so how do you let go? How do you change your mindset, and how do you truly let go in a way that's really going to create dramatically different results, positive results in your marriage and in your life? So that's the podcast for today. It's a lot of intense information to share with you. And of course, I can only really skim the surface in these podcasts. We don't have the time together for me to go to it in great depth. If you would like to go into it in more depth, I cover these concepts in my Save Your Marriage programs. My 7-day Stop Your Divorce When Your Spouse Doesn't Want to program, and my 30-day Save Your Marriage Relationship Transformation program. And I'd really encourage you to look at both of those programs, because this is where all of the information I share in the podcasts, I take it to a much deeper level. I give you step by step, I show you step by step, I lead you step by step in the right way to really save your marriage, to create the relationship you really want to have. So the information about those programs, and you can enroll, and the enrollment information is on my website, liamnaden.com. I'd love to be able to share that information with you as well. So anyway, today, what is letting go? Because I think we have the wrong idea about what letting go is. Well, essentially, I think the definition of letting go is not being attached to a specific outcome. I talk to so many people who want to save their marriage, and they put so much pressure on themselves because that is the only option they give themselves. That is the only possible outcome that they can see in their life. And I'm not saying you shouldn't want to save your marriage. Of course not. I'm not saying you shouldn't save your marriage. I'm not saying it's not the right thing for you to do to save your marriage. But if you see that as your only outcome, you put all sorts of pressure on yourself, and you also restrict seeing other opportunities, other options, and other ways of looking at and improving your life that ultimately can help you save your marriage as well. So it's not about not just seeing that it's not about saying, oh, well, I'll find someone else then, perhaps that's another outcome. I'm not really talking about that, but I'm just saying that if you're totally fixated on only seeing one thing, it might not be the right thing for you, or in not the right way. Perhaps the sort of marriage you want to create, or the way you see your marriage being, is not the one that's actually going to work the best way for you and your husband or wife. So you need to just let go of being so fixated on a specific outcome and really saying to yourself, whatever happens is meant to be. Whatever happens is meant to be. That's a great affirmation to have. And when you start doing that, as I'll talk about later in this podcast, you start to put out a different sort of energy, and your life goes in a different and better direction. So letting go is also about not reacting. Oftentimes we're so fixated on, we want to stay in control. So letting go has an element of not needing to be in control, not feeling that in every situation you have to get the outcome that you want to. Because what happens in that, when you're like that, is you react to everything. And of course, if you've got lawyers involved, you'll know that they fit, that once we get our marriage into a legal setting, with divorce proceedings or separation proceedings or whatever, and lawyers get involved, you'll know, to be perfectly frank, and I hope I'm not treading on anyone's toes here, if there are any lawyers listening, but lawyers tend to feed on drama and on reaction. It's all about, oh, I've got a letter from the lawyer, we need to reply, and then they get one, we need to reply to that. And it just becomes this whole machine of reaction. It doesn't need to be like that. So if you've got the bailiffs on the door, if you've got somebody handing you a piece of paper and demanding that you sign it, you actually don't need to sign it. Letting go is about just waiting, not reacting to everything, saying to yourself, I don't need to react to everything. I'll just wait and see what happens. Because it's not going to hurt me fatally if I don't react to this. So the whole idea of letting go is to realize that when you put pressure on yourself, it takes your life in the direction you don't want it to go, not the direction you do want it to go. So really try and take that on board, and I'll describe a bit later how we can actually do this, but just